I want to introduce to you a couple of guys. You may not know them by name, some of you will though. The two guys from Long Island, Billy and Bobby Alessi, and they have their own recording contract and their own success, and they still do, as the Alessi Brothers. Before they were the Alessi Brothers, they were in the Broadway musical Hair. They're also part of a very popular band on Long Island. Some of you may be familiar with it. Join me as we listen to Barnaby by 1973 and their interpretation of a familiar Beatles song, She's Leaving Home.
Wednesday morning at 5 o'clock, as the day begins, silently closing her bedroom door, leaving the note that she hoped would say more. She goes downstairs to the kitchen, clutching her handkerchief, quietly turning the back door key, stepping outside, she is free. She's leaving home after living alone for so many years.
She's Leaving Home by Barnaby By, featuring two of our guests, Billy and Bobby Alessi. Great to have you here today, guys.
Hello, it's great to be here. I'm Billy.
And I'm Bobby. We're honored. Thank you.
Hi, Bobby. Hi, Billy. So is it true? I hope so, because that's the story I've heard. Is it true that you actually made your first record in a penny arcade out in Rockaway Beach at a place I've actually been to on 116th Street? Is that where you recorded your first record?
Actually, yeah, we were about 6 years old. We were living in Far Rockaway, and on 116th Street, there was this arcade, and inside the arcade, they had this record your voice booth.
Yeah, it looked like a telephone booth.
It looked like a telephone.
And we were too short to reach to put the money in, so a guy was
25 cents.
walking by, and we said, "Could you please put the quarter in for us?"
Yeah, he put the quarter in, but he held the door open.
He wanted to hear what we were going to do.
Yeah, and we looked at him and said,
"It's closed session," and he closed the door.
You know, it's funny because in those days, that was the only way you could make a record. You guys have such beautiful harmonies, and that's apparent with anyone who has loved your work with either Barnaby By or the Alessi Brothers. And you wouldn't be those talented guys without those harmonies. When did you first realize that you were not just two brothers, but you could also do these harmonies? When did that emerge?
when we were really young, we would harmonize, sing Michael Row Your Boat, and on holidays they would say, Billy and Bobby are going to sing. We'd get on the stair steps. Cause
yeah,
like
we go 3 steps up, so we felt like we were on stage.
Yeah. And
also, it emerged when we saw our mom. We were about 11 years old.
First time we saw the Beatles on Ed Sullivan, our older sister and our mother were freaking out, and we looked at each other and said,
"That's what we're going to do. We're going to grow our hair."
Our mother worked in S. Klein's department store in West Hempstead, and that's where we got our first $13 guitar.
Yeah, there was a little music store in the
department
basement,
store.
Yeah, and we bought this record, the Steve Otto's
Guitar Method,
and that's how we started.
At what point did you realize you could make this a career? How did that begin?
When brothers harmonize, there's something special about the blend, which definitely helped us when we were doing commercials and something.
And there are a lot of other brothers.
A lot of brother groups that sing pretty good together. I can think of a few.
Although the Beatles had a good sound.
They sure did. Yeah, well, we got into advertising, and they really liked. We were successful at it because they hired us on a lot of stuff because we sounded so good in the groups. And And then we got into the Broadway cast of Hair, as you mentioned, and there we met Pepe Castro, that was the beginning of forming of Barnaby Bye, and then we finally needed that fourth member, and that was Mike Riccadella, who was a great,
Still is a great drummer.
yeah, great drummer, great singer, and that completed the group.
Actually, our first gig was at a place called Kenny's Castaways, and Ahmed Erdogan from Atlantic Records came and saw us and signed us immediately. And when we made our first record, first album, he said, would you guys think about doing She's Leaving Home a cappella?
Well, that was a beautiful version. You were obviously influenced by the Beatles, but then there's also, you have a feeling of the Beach Boys influence. Is there a difference between the Beatles' approach to vocals and the Beach Boys?
I will say that the Beach Boys, they approached their vocals more from like a doo-wop standpoint, and the Beatles, I think partly thanks to George Martin, their vocals were approached like string parts.
Yes, that makes sense. And the amazing thing is that you guys are the Zeligs of rock and roll, kind of like the man behind the curtain. What I'd really like to hear about is that you did the vocal work on the posthumous John and Yoko album, Milk and Honey. How did that come about?
We were did a lot of stuff for Phil Ramone back in those days, and even though he wasn't credited on that album, somehow he knew about it, and he said,
He asked us to come in and sing on one of Yoko's
yeah, he said,
tracks.
come over to the record plant.
And we came in there and we sang some beautiful vocals.
Yeah, we did some great vocals with Phil. Was he engineering?
Yeah.
I think he was, yeah.
And then Yoko showed up.
Yeah, but the vocals we did were really nice pop harmonies and everything. And Yoko came in and listened and said, oh, no.
Yes. We said, what would you like us to do? He says, well, I'd like you to sing like a flying elephant.
Well, how did you respond to that? That's a test. That's a test of your vocal abilities.
Yeah, well, we did our best, that's for sure.
Before I go to another Beatle, I must say I really enjoyed working with you guys. I'm Billy J. Kramer. And they paid me to say that. I wanted to talk to you about a different Beatles-related project. Going back to the time when Paul put together his greatest hits record called Wingspan. Now, this is about 2001, and his company, McCartney Productions Limited, or MPL, and they commissioned all kinds of producers and DJs to remix some of his biggest hits for club use. And you guys remixed one of his biggest dance records. It's from the 1984 record, Give My Regards to Broad Street album. Tell me how that happened, and some of the work you did on No More Lonely Nights.
At that time, we were working at a JSM, an advertising company for music for advertising, and this guy Stu Cuby,
Who had a relationship with Alan Pepper.
With Alan Pepper from MPL. He said, do you have anybody that you think could do this, No More Lonely Nights? And he said, and Stu said, I have just the guys. And they gave us Paul McCartney's 8-track tape that from the original song, which was, at that point, it was so old that you have to bake it before you can play it and capture the audio off it, because it only play a couple of times.
We loved working with it because you could hear Paul in between takes, little,
Yeah.
It was right in our studio.
What we're going to do is kind of treat our listeners to hear some of it. The producers and DJs, they remixed half the hits. They did Silly Love Songs, Coming Up, Let 'Em In, and Good Night Tonight. And this one, I think, is my favorite, No More Lonely Nights.
The drums there.
I can wait another day
until I call you. You've only got my heart on a string and everything a flutter. Ooh, but another lonely night might take forever. We've only got each other to blame. It's all the same to me. No more lonely nights. No more lonely nights. You're my guiding light. I don't want no more lonely nights. No more lonely. No more lonely.
It's so cool that you were part of that project, and it's something a lot of McCartney and Wings fans know about it. Before we continue, please tell us where people can find out more about you guys, when and where you can be playing once the pandemic lifts. Where can they find your records? Is there a website where they can track you down?
We do have an official Facebook page, but we also have our website, which is alessibros.com, ALESSIBROS.com. Our good friend Louis from Holland is doing an Instagram thing for us. One of our favorite places to play was my father's place in Roslyn. And now with the new one, we've been playing there. We played there like 5 times already. What a great club. Can't wait to get back to it.
Now, I want to ask you about the Beatles on ukulele. Can you tell us a little about how you came to do Two of Us for that project?
For that project, we were approached by David Barrett, who was in charge of that whole thing. I think it was his idea, too.
We knew him through the jingle business, but
Yeah.
he put that project together.
And he said, guys, pick a song, any one of the Beatles songs, and do it on ukulele. And
It was obvious to us, 2 of us.
yeah, we'll do 2 of us. And, it starts out with the ukulele, but as you know, we're all about the vocals, so it's a very lush vocal arrangement of 2 of us.
Now let's take a listen to The Two of Us by Billy and Bobby Alessi, the Alessi brothers.
2 of us riding nowhere, spending someone's hard-earned pay. 2 of us sending postcards, writing letters on my wall. You and me burning matches, lifting latches on our way back home. We're on our way home. We're on our way home. We're going home. You and I have memories longer than the road that stretches out ahead. You and me chasing paper, getting nowhere on our way back home. We're on our way home. We're on our way home. We're going home. You and I have memories longer than the road that stretches out ahead. Oh, 2 of us wearing raincoats, spending solo in the sun. In the sun. You and me chasing paper, getting nowhere on our way back home. We're on our way home. We're on our way home. We're going home. Home.
Billy and Bobby Alessi, it's been a pleasure talking with you.